What's good, my people? Welcome into Buckets, Action Network's daily NBA betting podcast. We're in the workshop presented by the king of sportsbook, BetMGM. If it's Wednesday, you already know who's on the mic. I am Sean Little here with my guys, AC Analytics Capper, Albert Wynn. AC, how you doing? I know you're in New York.
I'm in the city, man. I'm excited. We'll meet up tomorrow, but we are going to be in the Garden to watch Wemby's debut. So can't complain. And the weather's awesome. I thought it was going to be cold. It's like 60 degrees tonight.
Yeah, super mild evening out in the city. And you know the man, if it's Wednesday, J Money is Money, aka Mr. Smack City, aka I can't talk you off it, aka NBA Talk with Jay. J Money, how you doing, baby?
Yeah, everything's good, man. Life is good. Ready to catch some NBA picks with you guys.
Let's do it, man. Let's print some tickets and let's cash them at the window. All right, you guys know the routine. We give the plays, we back it up with a cap, and then we get you guys out of here. AC, what are you looking at for November 8th, Wednesday? NBA slate. Lots of games. I hope everybody went and voted. You know what I'm saying? So you get your vote on the Tuesday. Tons of games to break down tonight. What are you looking at, AC?
Yeah, it's a full slate tomorrow night. It's gone down. I got it at +6, but I like Toronto +5.5 in Dallas tomorrow night.
J Money is Money. What are you taking?
Give me the Cleveland Cavaliers -2.
I'm taking Zach Collins player prop under 25.5 PRA at the Garden that me and AC will be at. All right, I'm coming right back to you, AC. You're going across the border, taking the Raptors +5.5. Why do you like it?
Yeah, so the Mavericks have been awesome, right? I think they're 6-1. They're top 10 in a lot of the advanced analytics when it comes to their offense. Their free throw rate is awesome. Kyrie hasn't even hit his shot yet, and they're still winning. But the last two games, they've been very, I would say, fortunate / lucky in the second half. They've had really good comebacks against pretty, mediocre to bad teams. One was the Hornets. They came all the way back, didn't cover that game, but they did win. And then the other one against the Magic right before voting day. So I'm expecting a little bit of regression. I don't expect that type of first half, second half split again for Dallas. And we know they are 3-0 at home right now, but only 1-2 against the spread. Toronto matches up really well with this team. They have defenders, that can guard multiple positions. Even though Toronto's offense is struggling, they are a top 5 defense when it comes to field goal percentage. And I think Luka, Kyrie, and those boys are going to struggle.
Jay, coming off of the election day, this is the third straight road game for Toronto, though. How you feel about this spot? We talk about Dallas. I'm not very high on the Dallas Mavericks overall. I've mentioned this before. I gave out under 45.5 on the preseason total. They're off to a solid start, though. What do you think of this spot?
Yeah, I mean, the Raptors play really good defense. I'll be perfectly honest, it's not a game that I have a super strong feel on. I could see it going either way, but if I had to play it, I do agree with AC that the Mavs have been really lucky. They're due for a loss. I didn't think they would start out the season 6-1, so wouldn't be a bit surprised to see them lose this game outright.
AC mentioned the Toronto Raptors offensively struggling a bit. Right now, 25th in the NBA in offensive rating. That has been an issue, but this Mavericks team is nothing to write home about on the defensive end. They will let you score and let you get in a rhythm and then essentially try to play a little bit of ISO hero ball to come down the stretch. And it's actually been working to start the year. Against defensive teams, that might not be the case. Interesting spot, Toronto +5.5 for AC. All right, J Money is Money. We had to switch up last minute on the pick. Talk to me about why you like the Cavs here.
Yeah, I like the Cavs -2 here in a spot where I expect them to keep it going. They have their full squad now. Talking about having Jared Allen and Darius Garland back, so I think this is a very, I'm not going to say underrated team, but I expect this team to cash a lot of tickets this far this season. In my opinion, I think it started last game with the Warriors, which I was on them in that spot. I'm going to take them here again. They are on the road. OKC is a really good home team as well. I believe they're 5th or 6th straight home game, but they do head out on the road before this one. Also have a play-in tournament tournament game as well, which we know the Thunder really want to win, want to do well in the in-season tournament, not the play-in. So I don't know how I'll keep calling it that, but the in-season tournament. But yeah, I like the matchup here for the Cavs. It's also a revenge spot as well. The Thunder beat them early season as well when they didn't have all of their guys. Now they have them back. I'm expecting the Cavs to come out here and smack the Thunder up.
AC, they get all their guys back. They play the Warriors, and they get a solid win. Max Strus gets the looks that he was expecting to get. Darius Garland comes in, does his thing. And Jared Allen is always going to be a force. How do you feel about this spot?
I love this spot. Jay and I, we look at the games very, very similarly, to be honest with you. Cleveland matches up really well against OKC. And from a spot standpoint, it's really good. OKC right now is 5-2 against the spread. Cleveland's only 2-5. These are the opportunities and the edges that you want to look at throughout the season. It's a nice buy low spot for them. And Cleveland, in my opinion, is a better road team than a home team. So they're 2-1 away from the house. I like Cleveland not only to cover the 2, but I think it's one of those famous J Money's trifecta spots. It could be a first quarter, first half, full game type of thing.
Yeah, I watched a lot of the Cavs just because I played the Knicks a bunch as well, and I saw them live at the Garden. Donovan Mitchell could not wait for Darius Garland and Jared Allen to get back. He was out there literally playing by himself, possession by possession, just trying to keep everything afloat on offense. And then the only time he got a break is when Karis LeVert just felt like going down and doing whatever he wanted. That was the break, and that's never going to be good overall on offense. The fully loaded Cavs squad, I'm super high on. I would love to see, of course, more from Evan Mobley, but he's been playmaking to start the season as well, which is something that I wasn't expecting. That's something, if he can continue to do that and clean the glass and be a presence down there with Jared Allen, they could be dangerous. Donovan Mitchell, we know, doesn't necessarily want to be there, but if he's going to be there, he's going to play hard. He's shown that. And when they have their full 5, which they now have back, it's a tough squad to play against night in, night out, especially with how they got bounced out of the playoffs by the Knicks. They do have a little bit of motivation to show up big time in the regular season, try to get up there in that 1, 2, or 3 spot in the East, and then really try to make some noise in the playoffs. All
Yeah,
right.
Sean, just to piggyback off that, I was very bullish on the Cavs heading into the season from a regular season standpoint. I'm not talking about postseason because that's a completely different animal. They were actually one of my favorites to potentially get the first number 1 seed in the East, to be honest. But if you look at their advanced analytics, man, even though they're just 3-4 on the season, they're number 3, I believe, in defensive rating. They're number 5 overall in adjusted plus minus net rating. So the fact that they have a losing record but top 5 in those very, very important stats, it shows how great their defense is. And now with their team back full healthy, it's really a great spot. And I think it's going to be a team to back, not just in this game, but moving forward.
Yeah, no doubt. Number 6 in points allowed, opponents' points allowed in the paint, and that was while missing one of their guys. 44.9 points on the season allowed in the paint. That's good for number 6 right now, and Jared Allen is just now getting back in the fold. All right, I'm going to a player prop. I'm going right back to the Garden. Zach Collins, under 25.5 points, rebounds, assists. I absolutely love this spot. This is going to be a 2-unit play for me. Couple things here. You guys know me. I am super plugged in on the Knicks. I'm there every single night. I watch almost every game just because I have to for work. And I like the squad. I think they're one of the better teams in the East. They're fun, and I'm locked in. So I pay attention and I see things, and I feel like this spot is completely mispriced. Let's talk about overall what Zach Collins has been doing on the year so far. 14.3 points, 6.6 rebounds, 4.3 assists per game. That's right at that PRA of right about 24 and change. It's right there at 25. Now he's going on the road on a national TV game on ESPN. Wembanyama's debut at the Garden. That's number 1. That's the situation. Then you throw the Knicks defense in there. This is going to be a really difficult spot for Zach Collins to especially clean the glass and score, in my opinion. Knicks number 1 in points allowed in the paint. They don't give up any buckets at the basket. Mitchell Robinson has been an absolute monster down there, and so is Hardenstein when he comes off the bench. I love what they're doing down by the basket. And when you talk about Zach Collins spreading the floor and shooting the ball from deep, he's been very poor. Between him and Julius Randle, you'd be hard-pressed to find some rougher starts offensively from the perimeter across the league. 24.1% from three. That's 11th worst out of 159 players that have taken at least 20 3-point attempts this season. Knicks number one in defensive rebounding percentage. There's going to be absolutely no rebounds available. Between Mitch Robinson, Julius Randle, Wembanyama, all those guys are going to be cleaning up boards before Zach Collins, in my opinion. And then Josh Hart's going to be getting scrappy boards. RJ Barrett is going to clean when he needs to. There's just not going to be a lot of rebounds available. I took the under 8.5 on Monday night under Zubac, and he had the only reason he even sniffed it went under, but he had a couple tips, a couple offensive fluky rebounds. This Knicks team cleans the glass extremely well. Now, let's talk about pace. Knicks 24th in pace. This is going to be a slow, grinded out game. The Knicks physically just want to beat you up all day long. That's all they want to do. Play physical, slow it down, get in the half court, and hopefully get a good look at a jumper. But either, if that be Jalen Brunson moving the rock, if that's RJ slashing to the basket, QG Quentin Grimes has been very, very good. But they just want to beat you up and slow down. Now, if you flip it over on the other side of the rock, the Spurs are 7th in pace. But this is at the Garden. This is on national TV. The Spurs have been getting waxed, especially they've been giving up tons and tons of points on the defensive end. This game is going to be played how the Knicks want it to be played. So the Spurs being 7th in pace doesn't move anything for me. A lot of one and done spots. Now, last point here. Spurs and usage rates. There's potentially a spot where Zach Collins is number 4 on the offensive end behind Devin Vassell, Victor Wembanyama, Keldon Johnson. Sohan's going to get some looks as well in that spot. If you go up and pull up the usage rate through the first, I think they played 7 or 8 games here. Victor Wembanyama leads the team in usage rate at 27.6%. Keldon Johnson, 22.7%. Zach Collins is at number 3 at 21.9%. But Jeremy Sohan is at 21.5%. And then Vassell is at 20.3%. There's a real chance in this spot that Zach Collins does not see the rock offensively at all, at least trying to score. He's going to play make. He's been a really good job of setting screens, playmaking, facilitating, specifically to Wembanyama. But I don't see him getting really busy on offense. He hasn't been shooting the ball very well. The Knicks don't give up buckets in the paint. And we're talking about a situation where Vassell, Wembanyama, and Keldon Johnson are going to be trying to get shots up at the Garden on ESPN. I really like this spot for Zach Collins to go under 25.5 points, rebounds, assists. I feel like this should be more like 22.5, 23.5 tops. So I really like that spot. It'll be a 2-unit play for me. All right. As AC laid out, how do you feel about the PRA play by Collins? We'll be in the building. And then, Jay, I'd love your thoughts as well.
Yeah, I like that, Sean. I like the look because it's a potential blowout. Like you said, I think the spread is 9.5. It might even trickle up to double digits before tip off. So if it's a blowout, you expect Popovich to kind of sit his guys, especially in that fourth quarter. Wemby's been playing a ton of minutes lately. So has Zach Collins, kind of being his center, his protector on on Wemby's side. So if Wemby's out, there's no point to play Zach Collins. So if the game gets out of control, I definitely see that. But I just want to say one thing, man. Jay, Sean is drinking the Knicks Kool-Aid like crazy right now.
No, this is just a good spot. To be honest, I thought it was a good spot coming off of 3 or 4 losses against Harden, who I didn't think would get acclimated. I actually was talking about under 14.5 points. He ended up going over that. He shot it pretty well. He's 6-9 from the floor. But they've had a tough schedule to open up the year. This is a good spot for them to get rolling. Jay, really quick, the Spurs have given up – they just gave up 152 to the Pacers. Mm-hmm. They gave up 123 to the Raptors, who apparently just score on really good on teams. Like they just bust teams' ass that can't play any defense, of course. They beat up Milwaukee, and then they beat up San Antonio. They gave up 121 and then you have that back-to-back with the Suns. That was a little funky. But the last two, they've given up 275 combined.
Yeah, actually, I'm actually interested in possibly looking towards the Spurs here plus a 9.5. Historically, I'd like to back teams coming off a horrible loss. This team just lost by 41 points versus the Indiana Pacers, and you said it, Sean. This is like a clash of styles. The Knicks can't really run the Spurs off the floor, in my opinion. I mean, they can lock them up on defense. I feel like if you like the Knicks here, that's correlated with the under. If you like the Spurs and you think it's going to be their type of game, then you like the over in this spot, which they hadn't been playing a ton of defense, but they do like to run and gun as well. So, but just like schematically, any team coming off a 40-point loss, I'm immediately looking towards backing them to get that bad taste out of their mouth in the next game. So that's the only way that I can look in this game is Spurs plus a 9.5. Be perfectly honest, I know you're a fan and all, Sean, but I'm not laying 9.5 with the Knicks against anybody right now.
Hold on, why I gotta be a fan? I'm just tapped into the squad.
I mean, it is what it
So
is.
I'm here.
It's no
You know what I'm
problem.
saying?
It's no problem with you being a fan,
You know what
but
I'm
I mean,
saying? Jay, I'm a Bulls guy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I'm just saying we gotta be real with ourselves, right? So, but I'm just saying, Spurs plus a 9.5 or nothing for me in this game.
Yeah, fair enough. That's why that number is very lofty for a team that has been struggling on offense. That was specifically why I wasn't looking at that spot. Now it could potentially be a blowout. Like the 9 has been hanging out there. It's been out there for almost a full 20 hours, and it hasn't moved very much. You understand what I'm saying? So, like AC laid out, this has blowout potential because also the Spurs are worst in 3-point percentage allowed in the NBA. 46% they give up from 3 on the road. So this has a potential get right spot offensively for the Knicks.
I think we know, like Jay said, stylistically, the San Antonio Spurs are gonna want to run, keep the pace up. If they're cold from 3, then yeah, it's most likely a blowout. But if they're gonna hit 35 to 40%, it's gonna be a competitive game.
Leaning into what Jay laid out, I got a trend for you before we chat for a few minutes on a couple of these other games because there's so much going on the slate. Teams that scored 134 points are 144, 193, and 10 against the spread. That's 42.7% in the follow-up contest. So that's the Nuggets. They scored 134. The Sixers scored 146. And then the Pacers scored 152. The marquee matchup on the board here is clear, far and away, the Philadelphia 76ers hosting the Boston Celtics. Sixers lose game 1 to open up the year. Maxey goes crazy and has continued to cook. And then they rip off 5 straight W's. Boston's now coming off an overtime loss to Minnesota. Jay, I'm going to come to you first. This game felt untouchable to me. I don't know where I could ever find an edge in this spot. I'm just going to sit back, grab the popcorn and watch. How do you feel about this spot right now? Boston -2.
Yeah, great game to watch, in my opinion. I'd never bet these type of games. Toss-up type of game. 2 really great teams. I mean, right now, 2 of the best teams in the Eastern Conference right now. The problem here is that obviously Celtics coming off their first loss of the season, and it went into overtime as well. So maybe if it didn't go into overtime or they got blown out, I'd be backing the Celtics here. We know historically that they absolutely owned the Philadelphia 76ers, but then I looked at it a little bit deeper. They are 7-3 against the spread last 10 versus the Sixers, but this is a playoff revenge spot, and it's something that I'd rather stay off the game than to bet against the playoff revenge. That's one of my key angles. That's where I've made the most money in betting the NBA as well. So we know that the Sixers have added motivation here. They have the rest advantage. They hadn't had to travel anywhere. This is their 5th straight home game as well. They're 6-0 against the spread so far this season, which we know that won't keep up too much longer. But Celtics are the better team. 76ers in theory coming in the more motivated team here as well. So this is a clear stay off game. I wanted to lean towards the Celtics here. Like I said, they are the better team, but with the Sixers not having to travel anywhere, they're nice and comfy at the house, and the playoff revenge, I could see this one going either way.
Yeah, AC, playoff revenge, game 1 revenge. They took an L not even, 2 weeks ago? So, yeah, there's a couple revenge spots.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, I agree with what Jay was saying. This is more of a coin flip game, especially against 2 elite teams in the NBA. But I do disagree on one point. If I had to bet one side, it would be Boston, to be honest. Because you're right, all the arrows point towards the Sixers, right? They're at home. There's really no rest advantage or disadvantage. They're on fire. They've covered every single game this season. And now they're getting, the Harden trade. Now they're bringing 4, starting caliber or top 6, top 7 type guys part of their rotation too. So they're going to be able to match up with Boston. But if I had to bet one team, I think the better team here, top to bottom, is Boston, even though they're on the road. But it's a great spot because they're coming off a loss, an overtime loss on the road as well.
Before we get out of here, I can't let Jay off the hook and let Jay go enjoy the rest of his evening without bringing up the Lakers playing the Rockets here. Dylan Brooks talking crazy. Any thoughts on that game, that spot? LeBron coming off a tough, close loss. They're sending footage to the league to review fouls. He's passing up layups. That's always a talking point to kick it to Cam Reddish in the corner. Any thoughts on that game with the Dylan Brooks angle? First time they're seeing each other since, the old man talk?
Yeah, I don't really think the Dylan Brooks things matter, to be honest. So I don't really care about that. It's Lakers or none for me here, right? Coming off back-to-back losses. I believe this is the last game of their road trip as well. So they're looking to at least get one win. Or no, they have one more versus the Suns. A play-in game as well versus the Suns on deck. But it's Lakers or nothing for me here. The Anthony Davis, he says that he's probably good enough to play, but we know that he's Mr. Glass out there. Without him being 100%, you can get whatever you want in the paint versus the Lakers. This team is really banged up right now. So it's Lakers or nothing for me, but I would agree with this spread basically cratering. I believe it opened up at 4.5. It's down to 2.5. Still Lakers are nothing for me, but again, a game that I'm not going to touch.
Yeah, AC Rui out, Vanderbilt still out, Vincent out, Hayes out, but there's still LeBron James running around out there. Any thoughts on this matchup? Lakers minus 2.5 as it is ticking down, like Jay mentioned.
Yeah, 2.5. I do like the Lakers. I think the easy read for me here is if Anthony Davis plays, I'm actually gonna like Houston. If he sits, I'm gonna like LA because I think that line is gonna jump back up to 3.5, 4.5. So I like LA. It's a really nice spot. Houston's been playing really well, but one thing Houston really struggles with, and it's something that the Lakers need to get better, is fourth quarter execution. So you're going to see both teams having issues trying to get buckets in the fourth quarter. But I think guys like, Austin Reeves, LeBron James, they're more comfortable in that system than the new guys in Houston. So I'm just going to side with the Lakers for that game.
To recap, AC Analytics capper Albert Wynn, Raptors plus 5.5. Jay is money. Cavs -2. I'm on Zach Collins under 25.5 points, rebounds, and assists. Let's enjoy the big slate. Wednesday night, NBA edition. For Jay Money is Money. For Albert Wynn, I am Sean Little. Don't forget it. Shout out our guys over at BetMGM, the king of sportsbooks. Go download the Action Network app. Too much info on a day-to-day basis not to have that uploaded on the phone. Tons of shows to check out. Go subscribe to the Buckets feed on wherever you listen to your podcast. Go subscribe to the Action Network YouTube page. And don't forget to get buckets, baby. We'll see y'all tomorrow.